Now I go very back to an article I wrote by myself already in the 80s, and it's second time published in 92 in this book, Managing is Designing, in an article which I call Purpose in lieu of Goals, Enterprise in lieu of Things. And this goes back to, you know, I saw the first time this kind of drawing on a blackboard of Joseph Beuys. I worked with that for a long time. And at a certain point, it was a very interesting formula in order to understand actually social organizations. Yeah? And each enterprise I would call a social organization. And what I'm looking when I look now as a manager into an organization, I always look for the chaotic part. You have to make sure in an organization chaos is possible, but not in the financial office. Yeah, you already understand. Yeah. So there needs to be certain areas where some kind of chaos is possible. So, because for me, that has always to do with generation, with newness, innovation. And there's a second part which I call movement, because in an organization, for instance, the communication part, there's a lot of movement, but it's organized movement, right? And the third part is very systematic. You need to look also in an organization that certain things are systematically organized. I will explain it a little bit more in detail on the next slide, yeah? So I think my statement, creativity in organizations, finding the right answer to the challenge. And you have different challenges in the organizations. So I think you need to have reliable structures in the organization. When you look in an organization, I need to have reliable structures. I give you one example. I experienced in some organizations that people try to move the employees around, that they change jobs faster than you can write a job description. Yeah. It's pretty chaotic, huh? It's not very helpful. Because I don't know the person I have to talk to at a certain point in order to, yeah? So there are certain, you need to make sure that there is a clear system in an organization, that I know where I have to go to in order to solve a problem. And if this is not clear, I think very difficult. So I think this is a system. You need to have a clear system in organization. And within this system, around this system, there are movable structures, there are movable things. They have a certain kind of reliability. I know that, but they move. It's like the blood in the vessels when I look at a human body, right? You have the bones, and you have the blood movement, and then it's also when I stay within this metaphor of human body, you know, I think there's a lot of chaos in my head always, right? And I think this is very important, that I need to have also within an organization. I need to have a certain area where we make sure as responsible managers that there innovation and can happen, something unexpected, right? Something unexpected can happen. You can organize that even in a small entity. You know, where is the place where the chaotic, the shaping can happen? So that's the second part. The third part. So, in my eyes, manager is very easy. This is my perspective towards, creativity in organizations. This is the problem. You have to bring that together, together the different parts that you understand, where a reliable structure, a system needs to happen, where you have the movable parts and where you have the chaotic parts. So, I think John Littger, I worked with him in US, I think you know her as well. I think she said, the wicked nature of strategic problem calls for elements of both our scientific and artistic method. I think that's for me a design approach, right? And this is what I have shown you before. You know, I think this is the artistic part, right? But there's also a lot of scientific, reliable structures that I know the system. So, because I have not so much time, because I'm already at the end. So when I look into this kind of vast field, managing creativity versus creative management, we started to find, and I tried to put it in an image. I think we started to find out in the beginning of the 20th century that managing is mainly during that time was mainly defined as making decisions and making fast decisions. Today I would say it's a little bit different. Yeah, you can also find I found recently this small book. Yeah, I think you described it very well. It's the entire Harvard MBA. Put in 150 pages where you have all the different decision processes collected. Yeah, but but I think this is very, very different. I think managing, has usually mainly to do with making decisions. And design, designers, and sometimes not very good in making decisions. They're interested in getting another opportunity, creating variations. Yeah? And therefore, I would say, this is my observation that in one way, what I have observed in design management over the last couple of years or last 10 years, that they try to take the decision attitude, the managing attitude into the design field. Yeah? This is what I have observed in design management, which is not interesting for me. So I have worked on something else, which we have called in 2002, yeah, Sabine, maybe you will refer also to that, which is called Managing as Designing, where we tried to integrate designing culture into management. So now we could talk about that for hours, but I will give you a little bit, it's not true. I think I speak the whole time in metaphors, which is a real problem. And metaphors have always an issue, because they make something clear and they make a lot of fog, right? And looking through the fog, I show you here. It's very difficult. So don't take that serious. But I try to offer it to you because I have no other chance. So designing is very clear, and I know it from Harvard teaching, right? A manager is good if you have only 2 solutions. Yeah? In the Excel sheet, one number is higher, it's very easy to make a decision. This is great, huh? But designers are doing, if a student comes to me and as a designer and has only 2 solutions, I say, go home, right? This is in the beginning, they always do that, is right? The first semester, they always come, show you 2 solutions, yeah? Right. So yeah, you try to generate a lot of solutions, then you try to make some kind of a grid in order to decide, okay, this could be probably the best one, and then you create variations again. So this is a little bit different process. I think this is, and Boland, which had been, referring to Baek, Carl Baek, I think this is an ideal design process, intelligence, design choice. At first you try to grasp the problem as best as you can, then you create some kind of solution, then you make a decision. I very often see it also in this institution. The people make decisions Then they understand this doesn't work so well. Then they try to understand why it doesn't work so well, and then they go back and redesign it. So yeah, it's very often, that happens very often in the management environment. It's very costly. So I think this is the different culture, I think, between the classical management, classical management understanding, and designing. So I want to summarize. For me, as I understand designing is a discursive act as we do it today. I think today, in my perception, we are trying to design an understanding of something, right? We are trying to negotiate. We're trying to position. It's a shaping. It's a reshaping, and through, I think, divergence and convergence. They're trying to open it up, right? I try to open it up, and then I try to close it again in order to summarize. Thanks for listening.